Hey YouTube, it's your girl Chic from Chic Say What. I am back. I'm back. So earlier I came on back. I'm back. So earlier I came on to talk about the ongoing saga with Crystalline Kerrison of the Pink Pill and Sanji. I've gotten a lot of feedback pertaining to the video. A lot of people have comments and opinion about the matter. So I want to jump back on just to have a live interaction again with how you feel about things as they've been unfolding. I'm seeing more content creators out there putting videos out there to share information. I haven't checked out any of their content to see what they're talking about. So I want to just come on here and I did see some additional information out there pertaining to Crystalline of the Pink Pill. And I learned that, I believe maybe it was a couple of months ago or not that long ago, she had encouraged women. So allegedly, like, she encouraged women to make TikTok videos and about, taking care of your man of another cultural group. So I do know, I did see another content creator talk about, I guess there was this Black woman and an Asian man, and she was just taking care of her man. And I guess it was her TikTok video. So that was a big thing, because it just seems like men ain't trying to see Black women pamper a non-Black man on any day. So that was interesting. But Crystalline message is divest, expand your options. Her message is, Black men don't have anything constructive to offer you, Black women. So you need to divest so you can live a better life. So that's the message that she gives to the ladies. Let me try to share my screen. And I just want to go to I had found her website. So I was just kind of scrolling through her website to try to get a better understanding of her brand. So let me just try to revisit that again to see what we find. So we're going to do the Pink Pill. Let's learn more about Miss Crazen. Pink Pill. Crystalline Kerrison. That's her last name. I'm just jacking her name up. Crystalline Kerrison. Okay. So bring her website up. I had it up and I lost it. I've been just doing a lot of research pertaining to this subject. So I've been on different various websites with getting information about our girl Crystalline. It's funny how it's just not coming up as easy for me as it did before. Crystalline Kerrison. Here we go. Okay, so let me share my screen so you guys can see. I'm going to share my screen. Crystalline. Okay. So Crystalline is an author, coach, and influencer. Crystalline Carrison is the creator of the first online self-improvement course, The Pink Pill, and The Pink Pill for Business. So Crystalline has she has a brand. She has a brand that I would say have a strong, it's pretty strong, I think, as far as like people being aware of it, at least for people who frequent YouTube, and in particular for the ladies who are interested in divesting. So with everything going on, I may just need to try to do a recap of what's going on with her in this part 2 of this video. So in my first part of the video, you can find that, go check that out, what happened to the Pink Pill channel. Crystalline kind of got caught up in, it's like it's twofold. It's drama pertaining to her and another YouTuber by the name of G or Cynthia G. And so there's drama there where, according to G, Crystalline recently dropped some receipts or some videos where G was talking about her hair and claiming that she bleaches her skin. G had an issue with that because she said, first of all, that was old. I believe that was maybe back in 2016 when they kind of were going back and forth. And from her understanding, they had worked through that, gotten past that. That was old. But also when she did kind of put these videos out with Cynthia G talking about her, according to Cynthia G, so I listened to one of her videos as she talked about the situation. She said that Crystalline did not put out a video that prompted the whole back and forth situation between the ladies. So basically, she said Crystalline is the one that started the whole thing. And G's like, okay, I responded. But she said the videos pertaining to, I guess, what Crystalline had to say about her, which was back in like 2016, she's made them private. Like, you can't go out there and go try to find those videos to look at them. So G didn't really appreciate that. It's like, hey, you're coming out talking bad about me, saying I'm this, that, because I didn't catch any of the videos where Crystalline Carrison was talking about G. So I don't know if all of this was on the same platform where it all initiated from Clubhouse, where Crystalline was on there with some other people, including Mr. E, the white man that she's currently dating. So I don't know if it seems like it, all of that could have came from like that same situation. So the second layer to that situation was a man that was presumed to be white came on, and he called Mr. E an N lover, and Mr. E responded, well, I guess I am an N lover, using the word, I'm saying N because, first of all, the real word it's never been a part of my vocabulary. But Mr. E called himself kind of meeting the man with the same energy, like, okay, well, I guess I am an N lover. And it kind of went left from there, y'all. The whole focus of the man calling, the troll, calling Mr. E an N lover, like, people just kind of left from that. The attention left from that and went straight to Mr. E and how he responded. So it just refocused. It just took the focus off of the troll and put it straight onto Mr. E and Crystalline. So it's like, okay, with Crystalline, what are you going to do? Your man just said the N word. And from what I've heard, Crystalline, did kind of check him in that moment and told him that wasn't cool, but it was kind of like too little too late because Mr. E had already popped off and used the N-word. So, it comes down to, okay, should Crystalline be canceled because her man on this platform used the N-word? Because her page isn't even up, y'all. Like, it's gone. Like, I tried to search. I even, just before I jumped on this live, tried to do a search on her channel name, and it didn't come up. Only thing's coming up is just content creators who kind of have her name or her channel name in their titles. But my video came up. I believe I was kind of one of the first ones that kind of started, today really talking about it and diving into it. So it has a lot of traction right now, but it's just not a good look right now for Crystalline and her brand. And there's been a lot of people who've been, the video I posted earlier, it's a lot of people who have various opinions about the situation. And I was able to read through some of them, but there's so many of them to where I couldn't kind of really get to all of them. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna jump back on and see, if people want to kind of talk about it and interact and, kind of go from there with it. If people have kind of researched it themselves or learned anything different or new other than like what I shared. I haven't learned anything new other than that she had encouraged for women. Crystalline had encouraged for women to kind of do TikTok videos, shouting out, highlighting you, pampering, taking care of your non-Black man. And I don't know really how that took off. Excuse me, if there was a lot of ladies that kind of jumped on board with that. But the person who did the video was like not feeling the whole idea, but they don't really like her anyway, which most male platforms I've seen don't really care for Crystalline. Actually, they don't even care for CNG. Like I said on my first video, I don't even put CNG and Crystalline in the same category. The only thing I feel like they have in common is that they don't have time for the Black man anymore. And that's kind of the only thing that I see that they have in common. CNG go hard on them with it's someone in one of the comments that on my first video talked about, well, Sanji isn't just anti all Black, that was kind of, they felt like, well, it's just certain Black men. I don't know. When I listen to her videos, I never hear her like separate Black men into categories. Like, okay, well, you got Black men in this category that's going to handle their business and do this, that, and the third. And then you got these dusties. That's the terminology she used. I believe she coined that terminology, she said. So then you have quote unquote dusties, and then they move this way. And those are the ones I'm talking about. Like, I don't ever hear her separating Black men. It's just strictly Black men, just as Crystalline on her platform. I never really hear her separate Black men. So both ladies, I feel like they just speak about Black men more of like collectively versus separating men out into different, groups based on their quality, because not all Black men are trash, just like not all Black women are trash. Not all anyone is trash. I think, you have to judge people individually. And what I see a lot on these platforms is that people lump people, like I see men lump women into one category and women lump men into one category. So then on their platforms, they're just having this round table with usually people, of their particular sex, about how men with, the men within our cultural group are trash. So it's not to me, I guess I look at that as an issue because these same people wouldn't want to be lumped into one category and discussed in a negative way. So, as I've said before on my platform, I don't just talk badly. I'm all about accountability and holding people accountable and people being accountable. And when you push accountability, it's not like an all or nothing type situation. It's an individual thing. So that it's about the individual being accountable for their actions, for their behaviors. Just as going back to the situation with Crystalline and Mr. E, I don't feel like Crystalline, excuse me, should be judged harshly because Mr. E dropped the N-word. She had no control over that. Hey, Reg Rose, you said not all Black men are trash, but when we use that argument in these discussions, it gives room for Black men to not actually take accountability. We got to stop babying Black men, to be honest. I agree. I think it just goes deeper. It's more of, as I talk about how I don't feel, I don't know what you see, but I don't really see men and women having a dialogue together. It's like they're siloed. So if there's a silo and they're separated, like, to your point, how can you drill down to, okay, only addressing those who are maybe acting out of pocket, versus the ones who are? It's just like an all or nothing situation with a lot of these dialogues. So it gets lost in the sauce as far as like the message, like, oh, well, this is only for this group of men. But when men hear it, they're hearing, oh, this is just men in general, just as when women hear things that men say about women, they're hearing it from a generalized place. And then, so it's back to people. Are we listening? Are we applying, effective listening? Because all you hear is men, or all you hear is women, and then you're kind of going from there. So that's why with my platform, I take just this neutral stance, as in having a space where men and women can both speak and share their views, and it's not heavily one way or the other. You say, I think Black men need to make spaces for us to have open conversations without disrespecting someone's gender. On both sides, Black men need to create the space as men. I think that's a great idea. It's one of those things that it's like in a perfect world, yes, but I what I've concluded is that people are getting off more on talking about the issue or the problems that they have versus being solution oriented. Like, you get more clicks and views if you just talk about the issue and dog the other person out or the other group out versus saying, hey, I'm open for solutions, let's talk. That's something I don't ever hear. And I'm a smaller YouTuber. I'm growing. And I'm appreciative of the new, subscribers that I get each day. So I would love to just eventually get to that space where I can have men and women both on, and there can be impactful type conversation, useful conversations, not where there's people just arguing over who's right or who's wrong, but people who, are open for solutions and trying to meet in the middle versus resorting in, okay, well, I'm just going to leave the whole group behind and just go to a whole nother cultural group. I think that's too where like the divestment idea is coming from, whereas there are women who are pushing, okay, well, just forget about the Black man and maybe just skipped all over the part where I talk about having conversations, and they're just more like, yeah, we're just going to skip over the Black man and just go over to, the white cultural group and just get it how we live over there, because we see or we feel that Black women are winning over there when they do it. We have seen celebrities that have done it, that are currently still doing it. What do we have? Serena Williams. We have the rapper Eve. We have, there's this one actress, what's her name? She recently, they were talking about her real bad in the media because, well, let me just say in social media on YouTube, because she proposed to her white husband. I can't think of her name. But she's married to the guy from Dawson's Creek, but she's married to a white man. So there's a few people, you know, Black women out there in the, quite a few. I just kind of right now can't name them all. But there's quite a few ladies who kind of divest that's out there in Hollywood. And I haven't heard about any recent like divorces, I guess, you know, with them doing that. It just seems like, you know, from what we're seeing on the outside, they're winning. I mean, that's what it appears to be. Now, you never know what's going on behind closed doors, but we just see them with their white men, and then we hear Black men typically are the ones with the comments. Like, you're not really seeing the Black woman comment really on, not in a negative way, on that Black woman being with a white man. I see more praise, whereas with the Black man, it's critique. I have a soft spot for ladies that divest only because I grew up with a single mom. She exclusively dated Black men, but they didn't marry her. Once she started dating a Latino man, he proposed to her. I can see that. You know, I'm all about, as I say, love who love you, explore your options. What I don't preach is just completely turn away from your group of people. Like, I don't preach that. I don't believe in that. I just believe in having your options open. So if you're on the dating scene, if you're interested in trying someone from the Hispanic cultural group, so be it. A Caucasian and Asian, you know, my thing is, it's just being open and just not singling out your own cultural group. Like, even it would go the same. Okay, if a white man said, okay, I don't date white women, like, to me, that just sounds crazy when you just completely just X out your own group of people. So, you know, I think, you know, when you X out your own group of people, it sends a message that you don't love who you are. And that's a bad look. That sends a whole different message. So those are the ones that I kind of side eye when I see people who kind of are like that. And you have, though, you know, you have people out there. Like, to be honest, I more so hear Black men who say, okay, I don't mess with the Black woman, or I only mess with the foreign chicks. Like, I don't really too often hear the Black woman just saying, I'm just not messing with the Black men altogether. Like, I'm starting to hear it more, but these things that Black men are getting upset about Black women, these are things they've been doing. Like, it's almost like we knew Black women are new to the scene, you know, when it comes to this whole interracial thing. When you really think about it, like, we don't do it in as high numbers as the Black man, but you would think it was in the reverse, because it's like the few women in comparison to the amount of men that do it, the few women that do it, it's like it's the end of the world when, you know, these Black men see these Black women with these white men. Like, when it's the celebrity, like when Serena hooked up with that white man, them Black men lost their mind. And I bet you a lot of the ones who lost their mind was ones who was with somebody who wasn't Black or at that time. Do you think black men put black women in a position to divest and date out, especially within the last 5 to 10 years? I would say so, because I think that black women are noticing more that black men collectively are not trying to get married. Like the last time I checked the stats, roughly around 29% of black people are married. Around 80% of babies to black women are born out of wedlock. So when you're dealing with numbers like that, I think women are starting to kind of wake up more. You got, they're choosing to not have babies as early. They're just collectively starting to make better decisions when it comes to what the dynamics of their family look like. So, like, I know a lot of single professional women that do very well, but they don't have men, and a lot of them aren't open to dating outside. And it's a lot of them just has, even if they don't say it, they're still like, it has this subconscious loyalty to the black man. So because that loyalty is there, they can't even bring themselves to explore the idea of something different. Like women, I feel like women collectively are more afraid to try different things than men. Like I was talking to someone before about when dating, how it's very easy think about this, ladies, like when you're dating, what I see, and even from my own experience, you start dating somebody, it's like, oh, I like him, and you just keep it going. Versus a man will explore his options. So he might be like, yeah, I went out with Lisa, she cool, I like her, but I'm gonna see what Brenda talking about tomorrow. And then the day after that, I'm gonna see what Michelle talking about. I'm trying to weigh my options out. Like women don't really date like that. You see it, to me, the women that are doing that, they're more so like the women who out trying to get the bag or something, they just, they got an ulterior motive, but as far as the woman who trying to settle down, get married, have kids, soon as they identify that one man that halfway look like he can be it, we all in. We like, listen, we finna nurture this thing. We finna make it work. Men don't look at it that way. Like, and women now, a lot of black women are starting to see like, wow, I've been so loyal to this black man for the past 10 years, but I'm not seeing that he's been loyal to me. So let me try to explore something else. Like that's the conversation that I'm hearing out there. Sean Perry, you say correct again. Reg Rose, you said one-sided loyalty. Black men don't give a damn about black women when they looking for Becky's and Maria's. You said a word there. That's what it appears to me. I mean, that's what it appears. They don't care. You hear a lot of black women out here in the streets talking about black men don't care about us. And from what I see, if that black man is not in a relationship with you collectively, no, he don't care about you. And at the end of the day, can you really expect for a quote unquote a black man to care about you when you're not in a covenant with him? When you're not his lady, you're not his woman. Can we even just from a rational standpoint, just to be fair, can we expect somebody else to do something for us? So even though in other cultural groups, we see collectively within the culture that the white man looking out for the white woman, or the Hispanic man looking out for the Hispanic woman, the Asian man looking out for like they have, it's like they have loyalty within their community. We don't have that within our community. And because of that, I think that's why it's so important for women to be focused and put energy on trying to have a family, a foundation, learning what it looks like to be in a healthy situation, things like that, is because it's like they don't come easy for us, so we don't see them in great numbers. You said, I don't believe there are winning. Sean Perry, you saying the black woman dating the white man, you don't think they're winning? I just think that we as women have to be realistic about the realities of our situation. And just using Sid back to Sinji, she goes hard in the pain. I feel like I personally interpret her speaking very general on her platform when she talks about Black men. However, when she is speaking, there's a lot of truth that I see, just from my own eyes and my own communities, as far as how that Black men will protect Maria or protect Becky, but not want to protect Keisha. I see those things. And my thing is, when you see those things and you see that that's a reality within your world, what are you going to do about that? How are you going to make adjustments within your personal life based on what you're seeing to be the reality of a situation? Do you still continue to just sit and wait for Antoine to come around and have some act right to him? Or do you open up your options and say, okay, well, Steven, at work has been expressing that he'd like to take me out. He's different, should I open up myself to see what that's all about? Like, I'm seeing, I'm seeing women having that type of mindset. And when they're like, wow, this is a different experience, but it's a positive. Like, they're like, okay, I can do this. Yvonne says men of other cultures seem to value the Black women when the Black men don't. I see that. It's funny. I'll talk to Black women and they're dating or divesting, which is the whole terminology of it. And they'll say that these white men say nice things to them that a Black man has never said to them. How the white man will compliment their curves or the color of their skin, or like one woman I was talking to, she was like, she asked the white man, hey, do you have a problem with weaves or wigs? He was like, no, whatever makes you feel comfortable. Y'all know we be hearing Black men go in on Black women with them wigs and weaves. I done heard them call them helmets. Like they got a whole problem, y'all, or what they say on their platforms with the Black woman when it comes to this hair, the wig, the eyelashes, the nails. Like, they really go in on that type of stuff. But that white man it's like those aren't really talking points that they have when it comes to like the Black women. So it's just about getting out there and seeing what's out there for yourself versus going off of, okay, what a Black man said, the white man don't want you, don't want me. I'm too dark. I'm too fat. You can't even go off of that. Here's another thing, y'all. Earlier, after I jumped off the first live, I went to the dentist. My dentist, this was a new dentist. I seen him for the first time, was a whole attractive Black man. He said he was, he's 31, his wife's 34. He talked about, women. He has some female friends who are nurses. They're making the money because of the pandemic. They're traveling nurses. They're not married, no kids. And he was just saying, women need to kind of just get themselves together, do their thing. And then at 35, start trying to, and I said, hold up, doctor. What you're saying is different for what I'm hearing on the manosphere. They're saying if you ain't got it popping at 35, you done. Doctor said, don't listen to that. He said, yeah. I said, they said that y'all want the young tenderonis, the 20-something-year-old. He said, no, He said, if you focused on something that looked good on the outside, ain't got no substance. But he said, if you want substance, you being 35, ladies, he said, that ain't gonna make a difference. That is what he said. This was a whole Black man, young man. His wife is 3 years older than him. They had 2 kids, but he was like, no. He was like, don't listen to that. Do not listen to that. So I say all this to say is that as we go through these different YouTube channels and listen to these platforms and we listen to what these men are saying, you also have to take it with a grain of salt and then try to still get out there in the ground, and talk to people just around. Don't go off of, okay, these people that you don't know on the internet. Have conversations with people. Because what this doctor told me was quite the contrary of what Kevin Samuels preaches, what a lot of the Obsidian preach. Like a lot of them, they're like, you're done, like pretty much after what they say, after your 20s. And if you ain't took care of your business, meaning, you know, got you a husband, pop that baby out, they like, it's a wrap, sis. It's a wrap. Sean Perry said, I have to do it before, and then I married a Black woman. Listen, we got to do us. As I say, do you, boo, do you. We got to do us. We got to not be afraid to try different things, not be afraid to step out there, not get caught up in your last situation. You know, it scarred you so bad that it set you down. Like, you got to get back up and get in the game. Is because what I see is that the longer you stay out the game, the harder it is to put yourself back in it. You get set in your ways. Whatever hurt you have that you didn't get help for, like, it's now deep rooted in you. And then now it's like, when you even think about an idea of maybe trying to date again, you didn't talk yourself out of it because you didn't got back in your feelings about what the man or the woman had done to you in a previous situation. Like, it's just layers to it. And I just think that when we go through things, you seek the counsel to help you get what you need for your healing. And then you put yourself out there. You put yourself out there, and when you put yourself out there, you're showing that that person who hurt you doesn't have that control over you like that to stunt your growth. When you put yourself out there, you're showing, hey, I'm strong enough. I was able to overcome what I went through. So I'm okay. I can get back in the game. I can try something different. I can learn from that situation that happened that wasn't favorable. I can look and see where they went wrong. And most importantly, I can look and see where I went wrong. That part. A lot of us, it's so easy to point the finger and say what the other person did wrong, but nobody want to really sit and really think about, okay, the role that they play or what they can do differently, especially when we see common themes. Think about it, y'all. When you've had relationships and they don't work, a lot of times there's common themes within those relationships that you can admit to be like, well, this played out in each of these relationships. And a lot of times those common themes, there are some themes that comes from your energy. And it's so easy to point the finger to say what somebody else did, because when you stop and think about your role in something, that's when you're forced to be accountable. That part. Who trying to be accountable? That hurt. You know, when you got to admit your own shortcomings, ain't nobody trying to do that. Only people who do that is people who are interested in growing. And it's all about growth. We can't just sit and be stagnant. We can't, like, we gotta, you know, it's just about learning from our experiences. Learning from our experiences and doing better. That's all we can do. Not endure something, not think about what went wrong, you know, assess the situation and just get back out there, or not get in the game at all. Like, we can't do that. What is that doing? That's just festering in you. Have you guys ever talked to people and they just feel hurt? Like, you can just see the hurt. You can hear it in their voice. Like, bro, sis, like, okay, you need to go get counsel, because they're so broken from something that's happened to where it's coming out in their energy. And the thing, what I can say about what I've seen with Crystalline is that she's gone through some things, but you haven't really seen a change as far as in her energy in a negative way. As I said before, we didn't She didn't talk about her first husband really. We knew she was married, but with Mr. E, she put him like on full blast on her platform. So I guess he was with it. And I can only assume her first husband wasn't. But I didn't see a change in her spirit, even though she was going through things. Because as we all seen for a long time, we didn't even know Crystalline was going through anything. She kind of kept it private. By the time we learned about it, was like after she kind of had dealt with her situation. And it's like, hey guys, guess what? I'm not married anymore. It's kind of one of those things. So it's like, what? Because it's like she didn't miss a beat. She kept going. And that's what I respect about her. She kept going. She didn't stop. She didn't let, after being, because she was with that other first white man for a long time. Let me see. I found a picture. I don't know if you guys ever seen, I don't know if you guys ever seen her first husband, but let me try to find, let me share a picture, find again, the first husband. Cause like, she didn't talk about him. I mean, she talked about him, but she didn't talk about him like she talked about with Mr. E. Crystalline. Crazy. Let's see, how is her name spelled? Kerosene. She didn't talk about him like that. Like I can only assume that he just wanted to kind of stay out the husband. He didn't want to be in the mix, which is a good thing. I mean, he got to protect, his privacy or whatever, but I don't know if you guys knew, but okay. So I'm going to share my screen, show you that page of what he looks like. So y'all can get an idea. Let me see. All right. Can y'all see? All right. So this is her first husband. Let's see. That's her first husband. They had 3 children together. She entered into their relationship with a child, a daughter. Let's see. She entered a relationship with a daughter, and then they had 3 children together. She has 4 kids. Someone earlier on my live talked about 3 kids. Crystalline, I've heard her say on her own channel, she has 4 children. I think her oldest is 23, which is her daughter. And then her youngest, she says she has a 12-year-old. Here's a family. No, that's not her. Let me see if she has one. I've seen a family photo with everyone before. But yeah, here's one. Looks like, you see, she got 4 kids. This small one is 12 now. This oldest one, I think she says she's 23. Because Crystalline recently, she just had a birthday. I think she's 48. So she's killing. She looks very good. She's doing the doggone thing, but she's not letting life beat her down. And her channel isn't up right now, but she has to regroup, y'all. She has to regroup. Her brand has taken a hit. Her brand has taken a hit, and from Mr. E, I don't believe that he intentionally wow, Prince Israel, I didn't hear that. I heard he was messing with her older daughter. Listen, I ain't heard that. She ain't talked about that on the Pink Pill. So that's the interesting one. So we'll just say allegedly, because I haven't heard her talk about why she divorced him. It was like literally like suddenly that situation was done. It was done. But I think that just this dude lying on his chat. I don't know, y'all. Wow, women will see their boyfriends messing with their kids and do nothing. This happens a lot. It does. I don't know where you got that. Did you hear Prince Israel. Did you hear that from Crystalline, that claim? Because that's just what I want to be careful about as far as with especially something like that, putting that out there and not knowing if that's true or not. So we'll just use that word that's used all across YouTube, allegedly. But I have seen her pick up and move on with her life. I don't know. She's never talked about Mr. E and what it looks like with him merging with her family. I've never heard her talk about Miss E and Mr. E and her kids in the same sentence. So I can only hope that right now, as she's dating Mr. E, that's something she's doing that separately from, her mom duties. Like she's seeing him outside and then she go home and she's a mom, because we do have to be careful who we bring around our children. Super Taylor, you said Prince Israel is a troll. He was just blocked on Tanya TKO Live. Don't listen to him. Okay. Wow. Listen, I'm still trying to get used to the trolls. That's really hadn't been something I had to deal with me kind of just growing and being more on the smaller, being a smaller YouTuber. But thanks for that. It's just a sad situation. I just hope that Crystalline, she pulls it together. She's able to salvage her brand. It almost reminded me, kind of remember when Derek Jackson and that blew up and he had this big brand and suddenly, that took a hit, but Derek never took his page down. Like the last times I went, I saw his subscribers drop, but they still stayed in the 700,000. So they didn't take too much of a hit. So I do believe people can recover. We see it all the time with, especially, with our entertainers, where people recover from, drama. It just, sometimes it takes time. It's like your story is the big story until the next big story. That's kind of like how it is. And I feel like YouTube can probably be the same way. I feel like Crystalline will have to come out and make some type of statement about it. It's not going to be something that she's going to just be able to brush under the rug. Like that ain't going to happen. Like she's going to have to talk about it. She's going to have to get her words together and come out here and speak to the people. And she's going to have to address it. And I think a lot of people may be looking for her to say, I don't talk to him no more. And I think that might be something she's struggling with, because from what I've seen, like she really do like that man. Like she's really into him. And now it's like she's stuck, maybe having to choose. Pink Pill should come out and offer an apology. I mean, I agree, because even though she's not the one who said it, it was still kind of on her platform. So when things take place on your platform, it's like you have to say something about it and take some type of responsibility, because it's on your platform. So that's why I talk about, as far as with whatever shared on my platform, with not want to just say anything, because I'm all about just speaking truth. Like I don't want to just be spewing out, because we know you got content creators out there who's just about just getting the numbers and saying anything just to get people talking. That's just not me. That's just not my character, how I roll in my personal life. So on this platform, that's not how I roll. I do feel like she should come out and apologize. And I feel like if they're going to be in a relationship, I feel like he should do the same. They can do a live together and he can do the same. And I feel like she has a strong enough following to where her people will still roll with her and rock with her. Prince Israel, you were blocked in Times KKO a few minutes ago. You go from channel to channel trolling Black women who divest. You said you wanted Sin G channel to be deleted. Listen, I don't divest over here. I'm married to a whole Black man. I just talk about things and, what's going on out there in the YouTube streets. And so that's what we're doing right now. Hopefully this week before the weekend's out, Crystal Lynn will make a statement. I don't see her going too long without coming out saying something. I think her followers are looking for her to say something. And I just think it's coming down to her trying to figure out kind of like what that looks like. Like, what does it look like with me taking responsibility of what happened without it appearing as though I'm condoning something. Crystal Lynn is she's a businesswoman at the end of the day. She's a businesswoman at the end of the day. So I feel like, she's handling her business behind the scene, and that's what I hope she's doing. But I feel like, that's what she's doing. I feel like she will come back on the scene. She just has to regroup. But as I say, I think we should separate. I feel like we should separate our personal lives from our business. Super Taylor, she should apologize, but not grovel. It happened. So what? Worse things have happened. She should stop trying to be so nice. It gets her nowhere. She should concentrate on herself. Tribe. Crystal Lynn comes off to me as one of those people where, I don't know if she ever went to charm school, but she come off to me as one of those people who grew up a certain way, and everything is about etiquette, how something appears, putting your best foot forward, never showing someone that you're shook. Like, she gives me those vibes. Like, if you guys ever met anybody who just seemed like all their stuff is in order, and even if something isn't, they're not going to show it. So you just think that everything's all good. Like, I get that energy from her. Like, she just seems like this happy person. And I did learn, she's from California. I'm from California. And I have picked up a lot of energy for a lot of people from the West Coast that just have this happy-go-lucky, personality. So when I learned that about her, I'm like, okay, I can see that. Because I believe she went to school at Berkeley. I think that's where she maybe even met her first husband. But I think that she has to take care of herself. And I can't help but to wonder if she really even did the proper self-care before she even jumped into the relationship with Mr. E. Because she actually said, while I was separated from my husband, I jumped on the dating app. So I got to thinking like, okay, wow, that was kind of quick. What made you think, okay, let me immediately jump from one situation to another? But that was my first thought when she said that. So I'm like, okay. So only thing I'm thinking is that she's built this brand around being married to a white man, to where her mind is like, okay, I got to keep my brand going. How is this going to work if I'm suddenly just a single parent out here? So I got to get me another white man. Like, okay, I got to replace this white man with this white man so I can keep the business going. Because some people have been confused with Mr. E being the husband. Like, Mr. E is a whole nother white man. This the new white man. This the new. Mr. E is just 2021 pandemic white man. This the new one. So a lot of people are kind of confused when it comes to that. And they're not sure if she's married or not. But no, that's just like the man that she's dating. But she talks a lot about him, and she always has him on her platform. I took notice of that. It's like, okay, sis, we see you. You're like, it's almost like she's just sending a message. And I think, like I said, she get a lot of flack from like other content creators, and particularly men of the manosphere. So I guess to combat that, she puts her personal life out there to try as a way to show them, okay, your false narrative isn't going to work over here. This is the real truth about it. It's like she's trying to prove something. That's what I picked up. She's been trying to prove something. And I don't feel like anyone should ever feel like they have to prove anything. And I think if we separate our business from our personal lives, when it comes to just using this YouTube world as an example, we're not going to get caught up in those situations. We wouldn't even known who Mr. E was had she not said anything. Like, we didn't know who that white man was. You like literally pushed him into our face. Like, hey, Mr. E. Like, she pushed him out there, y'all. And it's like, okay, this is Crystalline new boo. Hey. And then, you know, she'll do her videos and she'll talk about him. And then sometimes, you know, he'll show up, and it just became this thing of, okay, it's me and Mr. E. That's why I felt like, you know, she was working towards kind of trying to segue into a whole, you know, kind of expand her brand into something maybe with Mr. E, as I said before, like kind of like how Dr. Boyce Watkins and Dr. Alicia, like they now have like their relationship channel, you know. It makes me think of, because they've talked, you know, about Kevin Samuels, and I know they don't go for pretty much anything he says. So it just seemed like once they got married, they kind of created their own little platform to show what Black love looked like, and to show that, okay, a Black woman who's single with children can get a high earning Black man, because Dr. Boyce is a high earning Black man, you know. So they want to show something different so that the ladies aren't going off of this narrative that we see pushed out there. Like, okay, lady, like Black women, y'all missed the boat. If you're not this size, or you've already had children, or if you're not married by this age, you're a lost cause. Like, that's what I hear a lot out there. And that's so far from the truth. And like I said, the doctor told me, like, no, don't be listening to that, you know, and he would be considered the high earner, the high profile man. Like these men that the manosphere talk about, like he was one of those men. He was like, don't listen to that. So I want to come on here and just, you know, relay that message that this high earner, he's a whole doctor. He's 31, y'all. He graduated from Morehouse. He said he lived in California, where he went to University, San Francisco. He was at University of San Francisco. Like, he's done a doggone thing. He's, you know, him and his wife are into real estate with flipping properties. Like, he's doing it. He got 2 small kids. And he said, I got friends who are, you know, professional. He was like, no, you can have what you want. So don't let your age kind of be the reason why you can't. Amen to that. So using the N-word was very weird. Queen Butterfly, you know, I agree. I felt like he used it because it's something that was already in his vocabulary. Think about it. Like, if something's on your vocabulary, you're not even using that word. Like, the N-word is not even in my vocabulary. So I never even slip up or have to even apologize for using it. Because it's not in my vocabulary. I felt like it was in his vocabulary, even though he may have never said it directly to someone. He was comfortable with saying it, period. And when he let it flow out of his mouth, it's like, oh, shoot, I said that. Oh, I'm sorry, babe. I'm on your platform. Like, clearly Mr. E not used to being in the forefront. He's not used to having his life basically presented to the world. That's the thing we got to think about. Like, when you hook up with celebrities or people who got a name, you now have to start moving differently, because what you do will impact that person you're with because they have a name. Crystalline has a big name out here in these YouTube streets. She has over 100,000 subscribers. When I first discovered her, maybe like a year and a half ago, sis probably had like 20,000. And I really want to say the bulk of her subscribers, at least a good cool 50,000 came just since the pandemic. Because a lot of people kind of jumped on YouTube during that time because they were in the house, and they just, you know, that's just where they were getting their entertainment from. That's where they were just getting, you know, their news, everything that they want to know. They were just getting it off of YouTube. I know I kind of became more like, I don't watch television. I'm always on YouTube. So a lot of people's channels started up during the pandemic, and a lot of people's channels grew. I watched Kevin Samuels' channel grow during it. When I discovered him, maybe last summer, he was at 20,000. Look how quickly he's at over 1 million now. So I think Mr. E wasn't used to being with this woman, this high value woman I would consider Crystalline. She's talked about, her home is worth over $1 million. But again, it is California, so it's not really hard to have your home valued at that. But I do feel like she does live well. I do get that vibe that she lives well. I'm Black and I don't use it either. I don't like that anyone uses it, Black or white. I'm with you, Queen Butterfly. I don't use it. I even have a whole white friend that don't. I have some other friends or people that would use it, and she would straight check them about using it. Like, she don't even, like, y'all, she white. She don't even use the word, and she don't even want you using the word. Like, so that's people just don't like that word regardless of their skin color. And Mr. E just got too comfortable. That's what happened, period. He got comfortable. And his comfort impacted her brand. It hit her brand. And all he can do really is say sorry, like, oops, my bad. Like, Urkel, did I do that? Like, it's one of those moments, like, where he was in the moment. It's like, I'm trying to protect my woman, and he dropped the N-word too. Like, it's like, really? And now it just kind of created something different. So, like I said, I don't even know with the situation with Sinji, if that was all a part of that same communication with the clubhouse, because I do know it was a panel type, a situation or conversation where Sinji's name came up, and it was some old stuff. And Sinji's like, yo, sis, why are you talking about old stuff that I thought we hashed out? You since then have supported my channel, giving me money, super chats, whatever. Like, why are you bringing this up? I don't know what happened to her channel. She pulled it. I started looking for it earlier today when I learned of all the drama, and I did a search because I wanted to see if she had a comment about everything, because I had listened to Sinji talk about the, I listened to Sinji tell her side, not all of it, because it was kind of a long video, but I listened to a good portion of it. So I'm like, okay, well, let me see what Crystalline got to say, because it just sounded crazy. Like, Sin talking about Crystalline out of nowhere, talking about her. And I'm like, that just don't even sound like what I have perceived Crystalline to be. So I was like, I just put in pink pill, I'm expecting her channel to come up. That's the last I knew what the title of her YouTube channel was, and nothing came up. Like, it was only things where other people was talking about her that came up. Like, otherwise, like, it was like nothing. And even before I jumped on here again for a second time today, nothing came up. I'm a Black dude and I say the N-word, but I do have an issue when non-Black people use it. Like, stay in your lane, please. Listen, I believe collectively non-Black people know that Black people collectively have an issue with that word being used, but people gonna do what they want to do. They gonna do what they want to do. They gonna say what they want to say. They gonna have this mentality, who gonna check me, boo? Like, people just running out here rampant in these streets, and they're doing what they want to do, and they don't care who like it. Like, what? They're like, what? Okay, I said it. But I don't feel like that was the energy Mr. E had. I really believe like it was like he said it, but he wasn't saying it for it to be derogatory for Black people at that moment. He just tried to meet that troll with the same energy. So he ended up using the same word. I just think he didn't think. He just reacted. He didn't think. And I can just only imagine how apologetic he is. I can believe that he's apologetic, because I feel like he really loves Crystal and he's really into her. So the idea of, losing her for that, I bet he's sick. How do you equate saying hard N-word to protecting? I think that he just the lack of his vocabulary. When the person said, you're an N-word lover, he just followed back because he just wasn't quick with it, with saying something different. So to me, it just showed his limitations with his clapback and his vocabulary. To me, that's why I look at it. Like, it went to show he ain't the sharpest knife in the drawer. I'm not trying to defend him or nothing, but to me, it just shows that he's just not all that smart. He's not that smart. Queen Butterfly said he's not a racist. Did she break up with him? I don't know if she broke up with him because she hasn't really come out and made a statement that I know of. I know a few days ago I seen that she had a live or something that was going, and I didn't check it out. So I'm thinking all this kind of came about during that, because my thoughts is that, which I've heard some people do, they'll be on Clubhouse and they'll simultaneously have it running through their YouTube channel. So I think that this conversation was had in Clubhouse, and like it was connected to her YouTube. I did see after that video, I think there was a separate video where it was just her by herself. So my thoughts is, okay, maybe it was her trying to apologize what went down, but I can't co-sign into that because she took the whole channel is been taken down. And I don't know, if I would only assume she took it down. I can't imagine YouTube taking it down. So I'm thinking she took it down because I'm pretty sure she got a lot of heat for that. Yes, they should never talk to the public. I'm sure like people came and went hard on her. He didn't think, and that's the risk of being with a white man. They need to be educated themselves on what is politically correct before they pursue Black women. That part I so heartedly agree. What is like that cultural, that etiquette. I really wouldn't be surprised if Crystalline is probably like the first Black woman he's dated, or one of very few, because he would have known better if he kind of comfortably or more regularly dated Black women. So I'm going to say, when it comes to this Black women thing, this is kind of new to him. There's been a lot of lessons for him to learn of this. And I feel like if they both come together, get on her platform and speak, take responsibility. Like I say, I'm just going back to Derek Jackson. He effed up, but he did get on and try to do some type of damage control, even though if people went by, but we can't say he did come out on the scene, come out and say something, whether or not people was here for it or not. Some people was, some people are good with, Derek Jackson, and then a lot of people aren't, but he did come out and say something. So I feel like that's what Crystalline is going to need to do if she wants to keep her brand going, because you can't just hide forever. Like, you got to come out and say something, sis. Like, you're going to have to. And then if he's going to continue to be in a relationship with you, he's going to have to say something too. And I feel like they can recover. It's just going to come down to what that's going to look like when they stop to show accountability. It goes back to accountability. Queen Butterfly says at Red Rose, there's a risk with dating any man. I'd rather date a white man than a Black one. Most, not all Black men cheat and make you a baby mama, not a wife. Here's my thing with that, even Queen Butterfly. I wouldn't even go as far as to say most Black men even cheat more than white men. I think Black men get caught because when they do cheat, a lot of times they make babies come out of the situation. So have you ever heard when they say it's not what you do, it's how you do it? I think that Black men, which I've said it before, Black men are more sloppy with theirs. They're not, they don't, when you're having a baby, okay, now you done doggone told on yourself you was out there, versus the white man maybe not making babies outside of the home. So if he is having these affairs, a pregnancy isn't coming out of it. So if a whole life isn't coming out of it, he can probably keep that secret longer. So it's about how we move. I think Black men just move very differently than men of any other cultural group. So I really can't say if they cheat more or not. I just know that they clearly make babies out of wedlock more than not. But I did another video out there you guys can go check out that shows that I pulled the stats that collectively Black women have more children than Black men. So the stats show that, let's just say you have 20 Black women, and you have 20 Black men. Of those 20 Black women, maybe their baby daddies consist of maybe 5 of those 20 Black men, if that makes sense. So Black men collectively, they're not having children in as high of numbers as women. It's just that the women are having children with the same man. So let this make sense. Using Future, for example, how many kids he got? 6 or 7. He's one man. But that Black woman, she might just have one child by him. And then each of those women are just one person. So let's just say we got 7 women in the situation and one man. 7 to 1. You see how that ratio is? So that's why I say more Black women have children with fewer Black men, because they're having babies with the same percentage of men. So that was an argument that I seen out there. And I was like, let me do the numbers and the research. So check out that video that I did. It's just very interesting because it was something new. Using Nick Cannon as an example. Look how many children he have. He's one man making all of these children with different women. See, he's just one man. So it's one man having a bunch of children with a bunch of different women. So that's why the numbers look like that, where a lot of women have children, but fewer men have children. I thought it was just very interesting. But the narrative we see put out there is that Black men got all these kids they're not taken care of. You got a small percentage of Black men that have children they're not taken care of. So it's technically not all Black men. Most Black men not even fall in that category. Most Black men don't even have kids. Y'all got to check that out, because it was just very interesting. Most Black men do not have children. But that is not the narrative that is out there. It's quite the opposite. We hear about what the Black man, what he is, what he ain't doing. Keisha having all these babies, not Antoine. Keisha got all these babies. So check that out. But it's very interesting. It's probably going to, change your outlook on things when we think about how Black men and Black women are moving in these streets. Like, it's back to accountability, and whether we like the data or not, the numbers don't lie. It is what it is. We just have to move better. We all know there are more Black women than Black men, like 2 million. See? So, like I said, these women are having babies with the same men. And those men aren't doing what they're supposed to do with taking care of their seed. It's not the collective of Black men. So we got to have that as an understanding. And a lot of times what it's coming down to with these no good Black men, it's like women are choosing to deal with those type of men because the bulk of the men don't fall into that category. But speaking that language is not going to get you the clicks and views. Speaking the language that, men ain't no good, or talking that language that we might hear CNG talk, like, that's going to kind of keep your attention. But when you look at the numbers, that's not the collective of Black men. It's a small percentage. It's pretty small, y'all. I can't remember those numbers, but y'all have to check it out. I think I titled "Who's Having Babies More, Black Men or Black Women," something like that. But as I was doing that video, I just thought about how I listened to Sinji and what she talks about. And I'm like, wow, like this is different from what I'm used to hearing women talk about. But have they pulled those numbers? Are they interested? I mean, I think if they were to pull those numbers and really look at it, I don't know how they would be, how you can continue to go on pushing a certain narrative, of these Black men ain't this or that. When you see the raw data, you're forced. That's when you're forced to kind of have to be accountable. And it's like, oh, snap. Well, what am I going to talk about on my channel then if that's the case? So no, they're not going to go down that rabbit hole. Cynthia G is a bitter broad. Like, Queen Butterfly recently concluded that there's a number of YouTubers that I feel now that I view as being that come off with bitter energy. I think Cynthia G is very hurt, and just when she speaks, it's kind of with venom. You know how I say you can hear it in someone's voice? I can hear it in her voice that she has a lot of hurt and pain in her. So each video you're hearing it, and it's just like she's so hurt, and she hasn't gotten help for it. And Black men talk about that on their channels, as far as with women not seeking and getting the counseling that they need to deal with these emotions, these traumas that they've endured. So I feel like Cynthia might believe her channel with, I believe that she looks at that as probably therapeutic for her. But look how many people are listening to the things that she say. So if someone, say like myself, didn't know any better, or say you, Queen Butterflies, didn't know any better, some young impressionable girl would like fall into that and be like, wow, these men out here rolling like that. And it's just like, you have to know better. So I'm like, everybody, you have to do your own research. You got to read, you got to explore things for yourself. You can't just be moving in these streets with going off of what somebody said to you and just think that's just it. Like, no, you gotta question things. And that's what I do. I question things, and then I jump on here and I talk about it. Queen, you say, look at Tia and Tamara Mowry, so positive and bubbly. Men want women who are genuinely nice, kind, and not. Listen, I agree. When I say I do not like to see women who just seem to come off as bitter, hurt. As a woman, I don't even want to talk to you. I ain't even picking up my phone, even be trying to call you if that's what I feel like you on. Because I don't even want that energy, because it's draining. And I even asked my husband, I was just like, if you talk to a chick and that's the energy that she gives you, and she's combative, she wants to argue about everything, would you want to continue to talk to her? He was like, no. I'm like, so that's the thing. A lot of women, it's just like they want to just live in that emotion and be in their feelings. And then they just go through life with that. And then they wonder why people aren't trying to gravitate towards them. Queen, I feel like a lot of these women are so lonely, and they live on YouTube. They kick out videos. They're up all night, hours of the night, like, because there's nothing else. There's nothing else for them to pour their energy into. Like, there's no man. There's no man. So it's just like, well, let me jump on my platform and just remind the world how much I hate men. Like, that's the energy that I pick up. And I've just been more in tune to that lately with some of the ladies that I follow, to where I'm like, wow, we're dealing with some hurt women out here. And it's sad. It's a sad reality, a sad truth. Sugarcane, Kiana, let's see, Kiane at Queen Butterfly, you have nothing solid against her, just your own biased assumptions. Yeah, I mean, everybody have their opinion. Sin got a lot of followers. So she got a large number of people that follow her. I follow her. I listen to her content, but to be honest, y'all, like, I gotta be in the mood to listen to her, because she go hard. And sometimes you're not really about that energy, as far as how hard she goes on the Black man. And if you're somebody who see Black men that don't meet that description that she often talks about, when you're hearing her talk about it, you're just like, okay, well, that's, that unfortunately that's been your experience, but that's not my experience. And I think that's just how we got to view it with any content creator we listen to. You got to take into account that these people are speaking from their own experiences. Reg Rose, I don't agree, Sheik. I think these are conversations that need to be had. I don't understand, Reg Rose, when you say you don't agree. You don't agree. I think these are what do you mean when you say conversations that need to be had? What type of conversations are you referring to? Black women are race loyal and Black men are not. Black men date out more than any other race. That's true. That's true. I would love to have a conversation with someone Black man who do date out of his race and can admit that he has a problem with the Black woman dating out of her race. Because I truly believe that a lot of these black men that go hard on black women that date out of their race, they date out of their race. Like, that's the thing, legit. Like, I've yet to ever hear anybody get into a conversation about that with a black man, like, yo, or even if they are with a black woman, like, just for them to speak on the fact that black men date outside of their race more than black women. Like, I would love to hear the rationale behind that. Like, I want that conversation to be had, because for the life of me, I do not understand it, because these men be straight in their feelings when a black woman is with a non-black man. And it's just like, but I don't hear y'all be like that on a wide platform when, you know, rapper Ice-T got his whole white woman out there breastfeeding. The child is almost 15. Like, listen, come on now, y'all. Like, how are we just picking and choosing what we want to acknowledge and ignore? I cannot. Let me go ahead and continue to read these comments, y'all. Conversations that black men accountable, but most black men can't even admit when they are wrong. I see what black women deal with when it comes to black men. As a woman, I've been having this conversation with people. I see a lot of black men, a lot of black women too, who struggle with that whole accountability part. I honestly believe, from my opinion, that we live in what I've seen. I feel like we live in this society where it's the cultural norm to expect or to put, to say the black man's not being accountable. He need to do this. He need to do that. Remember, I just told y'all what the stats are with having kids. So back to the word accountability. The stats show that women collectively have more kids than men. We're wanting men to be accountable. I like to use the example of, I like to watch on YouTube, the paternity show with Judge Lauren Lake. Y'all, like, have you noticed that when that man comes on there, the energy that's given to him is like energy where it's already assumed that he is the daddy. Like, have you ever noticed that it's just assumed, like, the energy that's coming from, of course, the baby mama on the other side and the judge? Why haven't you been there? Why haven't you done that? Old boy saying, because I don't believe it's mine. And for this reason, that reason. Oh, girl, like, I'm 1,015%. He the daddy. I ain't been with nobody. Judge come back with them results. He ain't the daddy. Well, judge, well, do you know who the father is? Yeah, I know who it is. What? You just said, sis, that you ain't been with nobody. But now all of a sudden, yeah, I know who it is. And judge ain't giving no heat to old girl. It's just like, okay, like, you rarely see that same energy given to her. Again, that's back to accountability. I go to those comments. It be women in there talking like, judge, what the, like, and I see it in the comments where even the women will acknowledge, like, where is the heat, the fire going towards that woman who sat up here and told a whole lie? I even watched one when the judge said he is not the father. She actually argued with the judge. Well, I ain't been with nobody else, so he is the father. That's a lie. When I say I ain't never seen that one before, like, she was in straight denial. But again, she didn't get that heat from the judge, like, oh boy, who was presumed to be the father. Like, I see it so much. Again, back to accountability. As a woman, I can say I do not see or feel like women are expected to be accountable as much as we look to expect in that man to be accountable. It's not the same energy. She's the first black woman he's been with. It's a simple experiment for him. Curious about black meat. Clearly, he's bored of it already, hence the so-called lack of awareness and word control. AB, that's an interesting comment. I hadn't looked at it that way. I mean, to me, I get the vibes that she's the first black woman he's dated. And I feel like he ain't ready for it. Like, he need to go back to whoever he was dating before, whatever cultural group, because I don't feel like he's ready to date someone outside of his cultural group. I don't even know if he'd be ready with any, even outside of, if it was another cultural group outside of his own, just because he's not cognizant of the behaviors, the words, the things that he don't have enough awareness. He don't have enough awareness. And you can't date in other cultural groups and not have awareness, not be aware, to have some understanding of this particular culture, the things they've endured, the words they don't like. Like, yeah, it's yeah. Sugar Kien, you can just go to the comment section. They hold her accountable. I watch paternity court all the time. Yeah, they do. Like, they hold her accountable because these are women that are like, yo, when are you going to hold these women that's telling these men you're the father accountable? Like, she's not giving them that same energy. Like, she's very calm with it. Like, oh, okay. I rarely like get into the behind of that woman and hold her accountable to the lies she just spewed. But though that man, when it's presumed he's the father, he's getting all the energy. And then, have you ever peeped? Don't let them try to celebrate and want to think they want to moonwalk. She said, don't be clowning up in here. Like, they will get the heat more than the woman who just lied. Again, back to accountability. Make it make sense. Why is he getting more heat? And you just concluded he wasn't a father, as he told you he wasn't. He getting all the smoke, and she over here, well, yeah, I know who it is. Sometimes I be thinking they lying. You don't know. You just saying that. Because sometimes a girl will be like, nah, Judge, I don't know. And then sometimes she'll be like, yeah, I know. But it just be like, okay, on to the next. Like, really? Like, see, that's why she'll be back in 12 months, like a lot of them do, because it's the lack of accountability. Like, we've seen repeats where somebody done been on there before. It's like, listen, I cannot, I can't do it. I cannot. The judge on paternity court, in my opinion, keeps the same energy for everyone on the show. She has no one-sided loyalty to Black women. She holds Black women accountable when they are in the wrong. Yeah. We have our opinion. As I say, I'll look in the comments a lot. And I often see other women in the comments making comments about how light the judge went on that woman. So, Sugar, that's what I'm going off of. Like, I see other women who be like, okay, she really should have said something to her. That girl knows she was wrong. Like, I see that energy. It's like they share the same sentiments that I have. But again, we all have opinions. We all have perceptions. That's what make us who we are. This platform is here for just everyone to come and share, their perception, what they understand, how they see things to be, and just have an open dialogue about it. So I do thank you and anyone else who's here for your comments, your feedback. Anyone who's here, please subscribe, like, share, hit the notification bell so you know when I go live. It's been a lot going on in these YouTube streets, so I've been jumping on pretty often to touch on different things. This topic today, with Crystal and Sanji, it's a pretty hot topic, so it's kind of kept me busy today. I have a lot of comments to still try to read, just even from the first video. So if you haven't listened to that one, check that one out too. Let's look at Doja Cat. I am not understanding you blaming Black women. Black men need to wrap it up if they don't want kids. I agree. What I'm saying is that it's a smaller pool of Black men who we're talking about that need to wrap it up than Black women who are just laying down having these babies. That's what I'm saying. It's a numbers thing. If you can, Doja Cat, check out that video I have with who's having more babies, Black men or Black women, and you can see how the data breaks up, and it shows, let's just say it was something crazy like the percentage of Black males who have a baby between the age of 15 through 19, 4%. Percentage of Black women who have a baby between the age of 15 and 19, 20 or 30%. Like, it was crazy. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have a bigger number of women having a baby, but then a small number of men. So it's like these women are having babies with the same small pool of men. Like, you really got to kind of look at the data to understand it, because that's what I had to do. That's why I did a video on it, because when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, I'm not following. But when I did that research, I'm like, wow. So check that one out. Like this live, y'all. Thank you, Reg Rose. Please like the live. I like to get this video out there so it can circulate, so people can kind of hear the content and just just become a part of the gang. Sheik say what, I'm just here, just saying, my thoughts, put my little 2 cents out there, and I just want to hear what you guys have to say. Doja Cat, I heard the new face of single moms are white women, Becky's. They are getting the same black men, and black women are getting Latina too, and Ling Ling. I can agree with that, because black men collectively, they're not interested in marriage like that. Now, that's a whole nother conversation as to the why. I've heard them kind of speak on it as far as when it comes to black women, marrying black women, as far as whatever they feel about black women. But I know there's one YouTuber, Coach Greg. I listen with him. I'm subscribed to him. I listen to him from time to time. He definitely discourages men in general from marriage. He talks a lot about like just the divorce rates, how pretty much based on the data, you're going to be more poor post getting the divorce versus what you had going in, just from the expensive payout from your alimony, things like that. Anytime a celebrity is going through a divorce and it shows like how much money the man got to pay out to the woman, Coach Greg's like, look, I told y'all. Like, so he uses those examples to support why he say men should not get married. But then I listened to another YouTuber, Anton, he's I listened to the Lapeef talk show, like it's like a group panel discussion, so I love listening to them. But he's like, yo, I'm married and that's the best thing I could have ever done, because I keep more money by being married. My wife, she's a big reason why I'm so successful. And recently, I guess someone asked him if he had to do it over again, what he would have done. He was like, I would have gotten married sooner. And I think Anton got married at maybe around like 22. And he said he's a millionaire. So I think it's called Lapeef Let's Talk. Check that out. It's predominantly a black panel. They had this new chick that's just joined. I don't know what she is. She's non-black, but they have some interesting dialogue on there. So definitely check that out. So like I said, I'd be all over the place, because I do it because I don't want to have a mindset that's one-sided and listening to one view. I want to hear what everyone has to say, and then try to find a way to get those messages out to the other people. So you'd be like, okay, ladies, this is collectively what men are saying. Men collectively, this is what ladies are saying. Let's talk. Let's meet in the middle and figure this thing out. That's pretty much where all of this and what I do, where it's drawn from, because I don't really see that taking place as much as I feel like it should. It's more like the battle of the sexes from what I see. I just don't think it's a good look for our community. Houdini Unchained. I like the imagery of CK, but not the mentality. She's pretty smart, classy, and assertive. However, there is an element of self-hate in spite of all of that. I feel like you can pull out, as far as when you talk about that self-hate part, from the fact that from what I understand from Crystalline, she is like anti-dating black, period. And like I said, that's where I draw the line, because I don't feel like you should just discount like your entire race and just be like, okay, I don't mess with my own race, but I'll mess with all these other races. That sounds crazy to me for anybody when you don't mess with the people in your own group, because to me, that goes back to that idea of self-hate. So I don't say that. I just say, hey, love who loves you, keep your options open, date black, white, Asian, Hispanic. Like that's that tip I'm on. And I don't even know if you would necessarily, I don't know what category you'd put into a love who love you type situation. So that's what you're going to get out of over here. Ladies, love who love you. Don't be focused on race. If your goal, like was that Carrie Hilson a couple of months ago, put something out talking about, am I wrong for wanting to marry a black king? And it's no, sis, you're not wrong. You can want what you want. I am married to a whole black man. Let me just put that out. I've been married come October 1st, 17 years, y'all. Been together this month, 21 years, 3 beautiful children. So I would never tell you, black ladies, to not be with a black man. What I will say is if you cannot come across that black man who's going to give you what you want, whether that's marriage, babies after marriage, and all this that provide stability, protection, you don't come into a black man that can do those things for you, explore other options. That's what I say. Don't have a mindset of, well, I'm just going to keep waiting for Antoine to come around because he gonna eventually come around. He gonna marry me. I give him his third baby since he want a girl and we got these boys. So I feel like he gonna eventually, because I told him, if I'm giving you your little princess, you need to give me my ring. Like, no, I'm not telling you to do that. Like, we ain't trying to do no bargaining stuff. Like, these are conversations you need to be having day one when you're meeting these men, talking about what your expectations are. Period. This shouldn't be no 5 years in and you talking about, well, I'd like to get married, and this man had no intention on marrying you. But you stayed away from the conversation because you didn't want to feel like you was like looking desperate or thirsty or like, no, don't be concerned about how you look. You put out there up front what you looking for. So if he's saying, no, I can't do that, then you be like, all right, deuces, and you move on. Like, we cannot be doing it. I see so many women in our cultural group will literally spend like their 20s with the same person. Then in their 30s, they done left and now they back in the dating scene. Like, what? You the game? Like, who is that? Nelly? He did that to 2 women. What, he did that to Ashanti? Yeah, he took Ashanti's all her little 20s. He took all of her 20s. Then Miss Jackson just recently did. Oh, he done took a good portion, most of Miss Jackson's 30s. I think sis 37 now. They were together for like 7 years. I call that an energy sucker. Like, he done sucked the life out these women. And the thing about men, ladies, is that when men get older, they're still, you guys ever see like the older men and he still got his swag and his salt and pepper, he look all distinguished. You ain't hearing men say that about us women. Like, as we get older, we look at, like, older men are looking at the younger women. They're looking at the younger women. Like, it's like an older man never go out of style. But older women, the older the stats show, the older we get, the less chances of us getting married because the older man likes the younger woman. That's the thing. So when we're wasting our time during these younger years, you guys, with men who have no intent on wifing us up or giving us the things we want, we're doing a disservice to ourselves. Period. Like, we are. We're doing a disservice to ourselves. Ashanti don't have any kids, and I don't think Miss Jackson got any kids. I never heard about her having any kids. So what? She now 37 and back on the dating scene. What, Ashanti? What, just he turned 40, so she's around, I guess, my age, and no kids still. But look, she gave Nelly all of her 20s. Like, what? That's crazy. Marcus Robinson, he could have easily said, no, my woman is not an N-word, and I love Black Queen, but he didn't, because he didn't see her as a queen, but an N-word, just like he admitted, and didn't even apologize. Wow. So you saying he didn't even apologize? See, I didn't listen to it, so I don't know what the man did or didn't do. Like, in the moment when everything popped off, from what I've heard, she kind of checked him and kind of put him in his place in that moment. But him not apologizing, I don't know. I mean, listen. Ooh, Jesus. That's a lot. Defund Tatiana. Wow. Wow. Facts. Queen Butterfly. Ashanti seems sweet. Nelly took all her young years, used her up. Yes, sis. That's what we not gonna do. Oh, I've seen that happen to even people just close to me, where it's just like, and then they left like it's almost like, I don't know if they even recover from the, you ain't even seen them dating nobody no more. Like, that's what I'm saying. The thing I did like about Crystal is like when her situation with her first husband kind of went left, she kind of jumped back out there. She didn't just lie down. And a lot of us women will do that. We'll just lie down, be in our feelings, be depressed. He left me. Like, no, we can't do that. We didn't even see Ashanti doing that. I'm sure, Miss Jackson ain't gonna do that either. So we gotta get up, learn from what we just went through, and just do better. How did he take? Let's see. How did he take Ashanti's young years? Who said Ashanti wanted to be married? I've never heard Ashanti say she wanted to be married. That's a good question. But if you take a poll and do a survey, I'm going to say that your average heterosexual woman does desire to want to be married. You're going to have women who don't want to be married. But collectively, I believe most women would like to be married. Just like I feel like most women would like to one day have kids. But you're right. I never heard Ashanti say she want to be married. So we don't know. We don't know. But Miss Jackson's gone, and from what I'm hearing, marriage was an issue as to why that ended. So, that is, a good question. AB, the only woman that can come with that offer talk are virgins. TBF, if you had previous failed relationship, kids, and ain't living out all your dreams, sit down, please. Enjoy normal life. Listen. I mean, I've seen women who have kids and who have kids from multiple men get that high earner. And that man, I know somebody right now who, when she met the man, 2 kids, 2 baby daddies, he's a doctor and he wiped her up and they just had their 3rd child together and they're living very nice. So it's just like, it comes down to that man and what he's looking for. It's not kind of like a blanketed, oh, okay, well, if you got kids and you this and that. And the woman, that I have in mind, I'm talking to you about, this is a woman that's now like 40. So when she got with her now husband, they've probably been together for about 5 or 6 years. So let's just say she got with him in like her mid 30s, early to mid 30s. So it just depends on that man, You sound offensive. Shawnee would have been so happy if he proposed. Girl, yes, we women know. The average woman would love to be married. I think a lot of them nowadays run around saying, I don't want to be married just because they don't see it as a possibility. Cap. Next. Queen Butterfly defensive wear. Marcus Robson. If Michael B. Jordan had been on a show and his white wife said that she loves N-words, would Black women be defending her and saying that she was standing up for him, etc.? No. I mean, I think if anybody would a partner but here's the thing, what I've heard people throw out there is like, there's been Black men will be with women who have said some shaky things or whatever about just the Black race or whatever, but they'll still continue to date them or whatever. I don't know. I just personally feel like the Black woman just get more heat just in general, just when it comes to the whole interracial thing. I just think period. It's like Black women are expected to just sit and just wait around for the Black man. So just long as you with a white man, then any and everything you do, to me, is just magnifying, and it's looked at like, I never collectively would hear Black men talk about really Kanye being with Kim Kardashian. Like, you hear a lot of Black women talk about it, but I don't really hear Black men like talking about it as it being an issue. And there's been plenty of times, there's been talks of Kim Kardashian doing things that's questionable or they call it cultural appropriation and all that kind of stuff. But people collectively, you weren't hearing men talking about, oh, Kanye, you need to leave her. I don't know. I just think it just hits differently when it's a Black woman and a non-Black man. Some men will marry as soon as possible until they put at least 10 to 20 years into it. I don't use it as a template for success. Yeah. Reg Rose at Marcus Robinson. That was a dumb question. Trying to equate the inconsistency of black men to black women. Well, listen, there's a lot to be said as far as the actions of black men and black women and how we don't line up. There's a lot of content out there about that. I can just only hope that the numbers, when it comes to like our marriage numbers, increase just for the sake of our families, for our children, because the stats do show that children who are a part of a two-parent household are more successful in life. That's just the numbers. And I've actually just seen that for myself. I didn't see many marriages within my family, but my husband's family, it's like everyone's married. And I see the difference of what that looked like as far as the consistency, the foundation. It's very different. And a lot of us haven't seen that before. So if we haven't seen that before, we don't know how to replicate that. What they say, you can't miss what you never had. Like if you don't know what better looks like, I think that's what we're dealing with a lot of. We don't know what that foundation, that life looked like. I saw it mostly just because my best friend as a child, that was what her life looked like. So I'm like, wow, that's different from my life over here with my single parent life with mom and 4 kids. Like it was different. So that was the example that I saw, and that stayed with me. At AB, wasn't it a black man who called her in? Why the selective outrage? That's the thing, T. I don't know. From what I was hearing, I thought it was like a white man that had said you're in lover to him, to Mr. E. But like I said, I didn't hear that live. And, her channel's taken down. But just from what I've heard from, with doing my research pertaining to this matter, it was like it was said to him, you're an in lover. Like you don't really say you're an in lover to the black person. You're saying it to the non-black person. So that's how I heard the story to go down. But I don't know if that's true or not. Change his name from Mr. E to Mr. NL, Lord. Just okay, Mark. It's just, I cannot. Wow. AB says, T, and when that black man called her an N-word, her man didn't check it and just agreed and repeated the exact same sentence to clarify. Sigh. Doja Cat, I heard their preference to call black men the N-word in bed. I had a black man friend and his Becky called him the N-word. I've heard kind of stuff like that. Listen, that's not going to fly over here on any given day. And I can just hope my brothers and sisters who's listening to this live that you feel the same way. So we're going to move on. Thank you, Doja Cat. Red Rose at Kingo 80. Black men like you should marry. Real ends that get money should. Listen. Period. We should be getting, I just think that black men shouldn't be getting married unless they can afford to take care of a family, period. Like, that's what I'm instilling my sons. Like, yo, you're not going to wife up anybody and start a family until you can afford to take care of that household. What she's bringing to the table is just going to be extras. You need to make sure when you take her on as your wife that you can afford to take care of her. That's the way it should be. Ain't nothing else to be said. Black man, the job of a black man is to provide for his family. If you are in a situation you are unable to provide, you should not be starting a family. That is completely different with you being in a situation, a relationship, and something happens and you find yourself without a job. That's a whole different type of conversation. Yes, your wife can be there as a support, but going into it, we need to be going into it with a mindset of, I can afford to have a family. If not, I need to, as Anton speaks, be on my grind, find my purpose, get my money up, then you get you a wife. Marcus Robson, he said, get a t-shirt that says, I love N-word women on it and wear it everywhere with her. Wow. I don't know what they're going to do. I can only hope that they working on damage control. And Mr. E was in clubhouse room. He wasn't being malicious. The black man is the one who thought it was okay to call a black woman an N. Wow. And it's never okay. So, yeah. I'm going to end this live. I have to go and pick up my children from soccer practice. But listen, I want to come back on. I may even come back on later. There's some other things I kind of want to talk about that's going on. Hey, are you guys familiar with, I don't know if any of you live in New York and these, the new changes that they got with the vaccine and the requirements, and you need to kind of do this in order to participate in that. What? I'm curious to know how many people are going to say, okay, well, I just won't be going to eat out at Sylvia's or going to see the Color Purple play or going to the gym to get rid of some of these roles if it's going to take all of that. I'm just really curious to know, like, how serious is it for people to get it in order to sustain a certain lifestyle? Like, because I'm seeing all across the place that, like, all these mandates, it's quite interesting. So I may jump on later to talk about that. Please like, subscribe, share. Please thumbs up this video. Helps the algorithm. Hit the notification bell. So if I come on, or when I come on, may come back on today. We'll see. But you'll know when I'm live, and we'll get the conversation popping. As you see, I always got something to say. So leave comments, keep the conversation going. If you didn't see the first live I did earlier about it, check that out too. This is, it's a hot topic right now. I'm going to continue to follow it and, provide updates, when I can about it, if, anything comes, but I'm hopeful that Crystalline will, surface and give her comment. Mr. E will do his apology, and, we can work towards going in the right direction, and she can put that work into kind of rebuilding her brand. Because, we've all seen somebody fall before. Remember Chris Brown? He had a whole domestic issue, and look how he came back. Like, it's just kind of going to be about how you go about doing it. Look, your story is big until the next big story. That's what they say. So this is a big story now, but it don't take long before something comes along and overshadows that. So I believe people can have a comeback and bounce back from things. It's just going to be like how you go about, but you typically not going to have that bounce back without doing a public apology. Like, I don't see people bounce back unless they do that. We already see the baby trying to do his apology. I don't even know what you call that, but people ain't going for it. So I guess he's trying to do something to save his little brand, but it is what it is. So thank you again. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, thumbs up this video. And until the next broadcast, peace.